Welcome back. Nelson Mandela Bay's dam levels are dropping at an astonishing rate as it continues to battle a drought. The Metro is saying water disruptions have started to affect several suburbs as a result of this ongoing drought. It's caused strain on the system, of course, at the taps, very worryingly, are now beginning to run completely dry. Let's find out what is actually being done, what can be done about the situation. Nelson Mandela Bay Metro MMC for Water and Sanitation, Mr. Dries van der Westhuizen. MMC, good afternoon to you. Day zero or no day zero? Where do we stand today?
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you. Well, I think to start off with, I don't think we can, it's a little bit early to say that we're at day zero. We are in a critical situation. Our dams are running dry. Our main dams are below 14%. That means we have less than 9.5% of usable water from those dams. This is the lowest level our dams have been in January in the last 5 to 6 years, if not longer. So the situation is dire. However, as a metro, we do have an alternative water supply, which is the Westhuizen water treatment works that provides about 60% of our water. So the situation is dire, but to label it as day zero is not quite correct.
No, that's good to hear, because we don't want to be anywhere near day zero at all. So talk to me about this alternative water supply. Is that now being used? Have residents got access to that? How does that all work?
Yes. Look, we've got two main water supplies. The one is, as I said, the Westhuizen water treatment works, and the other one is the dams. Up until about a year ago, the two systems weren't connected. So when the dams run dry, the southwestern suburbs face day zero. That's where that term for Nelson Mandela Bay came from. But since then, we've done some projects to connect the two systems. So in Cape Town, they had a real day zero. We're a little bit different from that, although the water is still in short supply. Our water, available water every day is about 235 megaliters, million liters. However, what the residents are using is at the moment in excess of 218 million liters. So that is where our crisis and our crunch comes from, is that we just don't have enough water to supply the residents at the daily usage that we have at the moment.
Yeah, the numbers just won't make sense, MMC. The numbers won't make sense. Eventually, you're going to run out. So I imagine that it's the expected call, the usual call of using water conservatively. But if residents are still using too much water, do we need to go a step further and start water rationing instead of just relying on the common sense and logic of residents? Do we need to step it up a bit and take the control away from them?
That is an option. It is the last option. We definitely are planning for that. But it is, I emphasize, it is the last option. So as a metro, we have to fix our water leaks. We are still losing too much water from water leaks. We have to implement strategies so that municipal entities use less water. We have to also then communicate with our businesses and our residents the situation we're in, so that we can reduce, they can reduce their water usage. You know, there is a perception that because we have Westhuizen, we'll never run dry, which is true for, let's say, half the residents of the metro. But the more water they use, the less water there is for the other suburbs.
Yeah.
So we're all in this together. We have to work together. And we have to come up with a number of plans to get down to that 235 million liters a day.
Just as a
target
very
that we've set
final,
for ourselves.
brief answer from you, MMC, because we're
Yes.
talking in megalitres here, and I don't think most people, I certainly
Yes.
can't understand how much that is. I mean, I know it's millions, but it's just too much water for me to conceptualize. Can you give a number that each household can aim for per day? If you say to me it's 6 bottles of Coke of 2 litres, I can work with that. Is there a number that we can give residents and say, if you can stick to 10 litres a day or whatever it is? Give us a practical suggestion here before I say goodbye.
Yes, we've for a few years now, we've been urging the residents 50 litres per person per day, which sounds very little, but it is manageable if the household uses their water judiciously and sparingly. So 50 litres per person per day is our target in the metro.
Oh, there we go. Now we've got a target to aim for. MMC, I appreciate your time helping us understand from a wider perspective what the issue is, and also residents down in Nelson Mandela Bay, the target to actually aim for. My thanks to Mr. Dries van der Westhuizen, MMC, for the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro.